There we go. Okay, so for the agenda today, we are going to start off with the meetings team. They'll go over the AGU 24 updates. And then we have Brian and his team who will be going over the 2025 editor-in-chief searches. And then we have our section spotlights. This month, we are spotlighting the student and early career events. And we have someone to speak for the ocean sciences section's student early career activities. And then another group for the From Education to Action event. And the cryosphere flash freeze. And then we will end it with the Earth's interior and planetary sciences trivia night. And then we'll follow that up with open mic for any questions or comments anyone has. And let's start off with the AGU updates with Suzanne.
Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne Davison, Director of Meetings. We are 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks out to the meeting. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone in 2 weeks. We'll start moving in on the 6th, so you'll see us at various times. Next slide. So as you all know, what's next for the meeting. This is an old slide. I don't know how that, Josh, how that changed. But this is just an overview of the meeting, just kind of helps guide you through what is happening at the meeting. And we'll have the science, which is in several different formats. We have keynotes, we have pre-conference workshops, we have learning sessions, we have the Open Science Pavilion, and of course, we have our union and name lectures and oral sessions throughout the week. And as you know, we also will have several engagement and affiliation activities. We'll have the town halls, section events, and just, different community activities throughout the week. And one of the things, just so you all know, we are at 26,000 plus attendance. We're really excited about that attendance. They keep coming in, so this number keeps changing. And we're going to have some mentoring 365, some fun activities, some DEI events, and of course we have our honor ceremony and banquet held on Wednesday. Next slide. All right, so this is our campus. We have the event venues, which are the Convention Center, the Marriott Marquis, the Grand Hyatt, the Westin, and of course, AGU headquarters. And the great thing about the Convention Center and Marriott Marquis is you do not have to go outside. There is a connector between the two buildings, and we will have both oral sessions at the Convention Center and the Marriott Marquis, as well as other activities, events, networking events throughout those two facilities. Next slide. This is just an overview, a kind of a 3D overview of the Convention Center. If we start on level 3, we have large session rooms that will take place up there. And also we will have several receptions in the common space on the 3rd level. And then the 2nd level, we will have more session rooms. We will have the AGU store, which will be located right on the Sky Bridge. And then we will also have the main registration, lots of engagement activities in the registration area. We'll have speaker ready room in the registration area. And then we will also have some pods in that registration area. And this year we're also trying where we're putting the plenary in the hall. So it will be behind registration. You'll be able to go through either registration or down through the entrance of Hall E. And then on the concourse level, or the main level, I'm sorry, we will have more session rooms on that level. And then you get to the concourse level where we will have the exhibit hall and poster hall, e-lightning area. We will also have on the concourse level the Brain Dates location, exhibitor registration will also take place on the concourse level. And the concourse level is where you will connect to the Marriott as well. Next slide. And this is just on a quick summary of what's taking place at the convention center. As I mentioned, we will have the registration, speaker ready room, coat check, several oral sessions, brain date. We will have the donors and patron lounge as well as the editors lounge. The council meeting will take place on the third level at the convention center on Sunday. And again, you'll have several social and networking events throughout. Next slide. And the Marriott Marquis and Grand Hyatt, Marriott Marquis, you will have honors banquet. We will have a quiet room over at the Marriott Marquis, as well as press room, puppy yoga. We will have another speaker ready room also at the Marriott Marquis, as well as oral sessions. And then the Grand Hyatt, you will have section receptions, as well as other social events that will take place. Bright Stars Luncheon, AGU Heads and Chairs Workshop, the Flash Freeze Innovation Award Competition. But at both of these locations, you will see other events taking place throughout the week. Next slide. And at the Westin, it's the same thing. We'll have more section receptions taking place there, and we'll have social networking events as well as student travel, grant donor appreciation, networking lunch, and the AGU College of Fellows reception. And then at headquarters, we will have the board meeting, a president's reception, and we are trying something new. We are putting a hydrology student and early career social at the building on Monday night. Next slide. So I'm just going to give you a quick event overview. I'll go to the next slide, Josh. This just highlights everything through the week. It's a different way of looking at what's taking place each day. And again, as I said, we'll kick off with the board meeting, leadership dinner, council meeting on Sunday. Registration will open on Sunday. And then Monday through Friday, we'll hold plenaries, oral sessions. Exhibit hall will open Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. So there's lots of activities happening throughout the week. Next slide. And this is just a quick summary of our registration numbers. As I mentioned, this was of last week, we were at 26,150. We're still pacing about that 95% in person and 5% online. And our student numbers keep increasing. We're at 8,820. And then you can look at the top countries, which are US, China, Japan, Canada, India, and Korea. And that's kind of been consistent since we've opened registration. Next slide. And we're really excited. Our exhibit hall is growing and we keep getting some exhibitors. We're at 320 and plus. As you will see, there's the blue booths that are still available, and many of those have already sold since we last did this slide. So we are still getting exhibit sales as of this week. So we're really excited about that. Next slide. And just kind of a summary of what's happening in the exhibit hall. We will have the Open Science Pavilion featuring open science and data help desk, the expert-led presentations, and AGU publications kiosk. We will also have the Center for Professional and Career Development. And there's that area has been redesigned. So there'll be lots of presentations going on in there. There'll be the Mentoring 365. You'll have the Headshot Lounge over in that area. We'll have interview booths. So there's lots of engagement going on in that Center for Professional and Career Development. And then we also have the Positivity Lounge with all the puppies. Next slide. And then we have meeting room locations. So if you know of anybody who's still looking for meeting space, we have some options still available for anyone. We have the open meeting rooms, which are located on the first level in rooms 148 and 153. This is a first come, first serve sign up sheet outside the door. And they're basically just, we set them up conference style, we max the room out. There's no AV equipment in there, no electrical, like it's just a room if you want to do a quick meeting with your colleagues. And then we have the ancillary rooms, which there is a fee, and we provided the form the link to the form, and those we assign those locations based on what's available still. And then we also have another option, which are the pods. And as I mentioned, they will be located in the registration area in Hall D. And then we will also have pods located in the poster hall. And that is a sign up in the Confex system. Next slide. Okay, so brain dates. We just want to keep promoting this because we want everybody to be aware that, there is this opportunity available for one-on-one or small group conversations based on topics posted by you and fellow participants in the brain date topic market. This is a great opportunity to share your expertise, your experiences, just any challenges that, just self-challenges. And it's going to be located right outside of the poster hall on the concourse level. So as you're going into the poster hall, you'll walk right by it. This is a great opportunity. I know everybody's always looking for ways to network, and this is an opportunity for members to connect. Next slide. And this is just an overview slide of our scientific program, all the things that they've been working on to prepare for the program. As you can see, we had over 1,000 oral sessions, over 1,000 poster sessions, 18,300 poster presenters. And we always love to, say yes, and 70,000 plus push pens. There's lots of push pens on site. So we're, really excited to kick off the program. And, as I said, the scientific program team has worked with the program committee, and they've done a great job in designing the program. Next slide. And this is just a quick speaker ready room just to kind of help guide you where those locations are and the hours. Again, all in-person presentations must be uploaded online by December 6th or on site in the speaker ready room. Virtual oral session presenters must upload the pre-recorded talks by December 2nd. So that is something new, and we just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. Next slide. And this just gives you the registration hours and where to pick up your badge. Again, we have main registration in Hall D, and then we also have a satellite scan and go in the Metro. It's over in the second building near the Metro entrance, and it's, kind of located where sessions will be taking place. But it's a great, if you're coming from the Metro entrance, it's a great location to scan and get your badge. And then we also have the print kiosks, which we started last year at the hotels, and they're just, single kiosks. They're not manned or anything. You can just bring your confirmation with your barcode and, go up and scan it, and you can get your badge at any hour. Those will be available on Sunday and Monday. And, so if you're staying at the hotel, or you just like, hey, you know what, I'm right next to the Westin or the Marriott, just want to go in, I can run in there, kind of bypass the main registration lines. And then the registration, as I said, will open at noon on Sunday. Next slide. Okay, so safety and security, as we always know, that is something that we always work on throughout the year, just to make sure everybody's feels safe and secure at the meeting. And we work with a team of people. We have our risk management company, Astria, who comes in and they advise us on the security, and also they work with the city, the center, and the police department in just making sure that everything is safe around the convention center and throughout the city. Next slide. And just some health and safety. We have our Safe AGU, which you will see staff wearing the Safe AGU badges. So if you're not feeling comfortable or something happens, you can always reach out to anyone with these badges. They will be located throughout, the convention. So, if anybody's, feeling uncomfortable, please, reach out to one of the staff members who is wearing one of the badges. We are working with, the Merits team and our staff just to support any attendees who have any medical assistant or transport needs. And then the one thing, we know this is flu season. We are not requiring that, you're verifying the vaccinations, but, we do recommend that everybody be vaccinated. And also, there's no mask mandate, but we will have masks on site as well. So if anybody is, hey, I'm not feeling comfortable, do you have a mask? You can go to the registration desk or a staff person and we can get you a mask for the meeting. Next slide. And this is just a reminder to remove your badge when you leave the building, walk in groups. Keep your eyes and ears open and just, make sure you're not walking on the street with your phone out. We just want to make sure everyone is aware of their surroundings. And just avoid leaving bags on the ground or, behind a chair. We just want to make sure that you're, taking these precautions. Next slide. And then just kind of a reminder on the convention center safety. There are strict fire marshal rules at the DC Convention Center. So there is, that oversight that we have to be aware of. And, the convention center is very sensitive to protests and they're very much aware and they have protocols in place. And they will request large group gatherings that are taking place inside the building to disperse outside. So they will be monitoring those and they will be managing those situations. And then also, the convention center does not allow any banners or flyers that are not part of the meeting. Next slide. Okay, so today the mobile app will go live. You should receive an email sometime today, but I did want to put this slide in here just to kind of bring awareness that, okay, this is official. The program, make sure you download the event app and before you get on site, it makes it so much easier before you get it on site to already have it in your phone and plan your schedule. So we're really excited. This is kind of like, okay, here we go. When this comes out, we know it's official that it's the meeting's kicking off. And you will also receive a know before you go. So look at that for that in your emails as well. That will have additional information to just help guide you through the meeting. And that is it. So does anybody have any questions?
Suzanne, there were a couple questions in the chat. I think most of them were answered, but I wanted to just cover them quickly. Someone asked, how do you check on your hotel assignments?
So you should have received an email from Merits, but then I know Merits has already supplied the housing information to the hotels. And so you will receive a hotel confirmation from the hotel directly. If you don't, please reach out to meetings info and we can help get you that information.
And David added a comment that he is able to log in to see his registration form and see his hotel assignment there.
Okay, perfect. Yes. And Merits, you can always contact Merits as well, which the information is on the website. And they can help you with that confirmation as well.
Okay. And then there was a question that Greg addressed about the speaker ready room. If is it available for upload the day before or must you have it by the 6th?
Well, we would love it by the 6th. So I don't know, Nicole, if you're on here. I don't know if she's online.
Yes, if we ask that if you can upload it by the 6th, that would be great. But if you are unable to, the speaker ready room will be open starting Sunday at noon, and we request that if you are uploading on site, please upload it at least 24 hours before your session.
Thank you, Nicole.
And then someone has a question about OSPAs. but not sure if that's relevant to all that's, I'm not sure if there's anyone from the OSPA team on the call right now. But Brad, if you
Hi.
email me your question, I can connect you with them and get you an answer for your question.
I think Ricky's online.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, I'm online. I can answer your question, Brad.
I guess we're a small section nominee in geophysics. I know there was a change to OSPA, but this year we have about like 3 to 4 times as many posters as or presentations as usual. Also, it's been very difficult to communicate to the presenters that they have to sign up to review one as well. So, I mean, right now I have, I think 20 people have volunteered to review, and we have 68 presentations.
Okay.
And I mean, the writing on the wall looks like we're not even going to get close to the required number of reviews. And I was wondering if other sections are seeing this, or, I mean, I send out a lot of annoying emails, but I don't really know what else I can do other than
Well, we
that.
appreciate that. I will say we opened the system much earlier than we have in the past. So we haven't had the opportunity to recruit reviewers as early as we have this year. So the majority, in the past, we've seen a lot of people sign up right before the meeting or at the meeting. So it's not, completely atypical that people aren't signing up right now. We are also pushing the call for reviewers on our channels. Our OSPA students will be receiving an email in early December reminding them of the requirements to review a peer and to upload their presentation. So, we're putting that call out. We're reaching out to students, but I will email you as well to see, how we can support your section better, and getting more reviewers. So, Brad, I'll email you.
Great. And is there any way, on December 11th or no, 14th to verify which presenters reviewed and which didn't? Because last year there wasn't. And I mean, it sort of feels, I don't want to threaten any of them, obviously, but it feels weird giving people awards who didn't meet that requirement. And if
Sure.
we don't have a
So
way to verify it.
So if you log in to the OSPA platform, it does, show if a student has reviewed a peer, and I'm happy to send that to you via email. And when the coordinators are selecting winners, the spreadsheet that you can pull from the system does show if that student has fulfilled their obligation. So we ask section leadership to consider that when they're selecting their winners. We've also told the students that section leadership can consider that when selecting their winners. So students are aware that this is a requirement that they need to fulfill, and that it can impact their winning an OSPA.
Great, wonderful. Because yeah, I mean that if they actually do that, that saves us a lot, because then we only need to find reviews for, 2 reviews for each presentation instead of 3.
Exactly. And that's what we're hoping. This was a new requirement that we implemented last year for students. This is the second year we've done it. So we're hoping that more students will fulfill this requirement, knowing that that impacts their potential to win. And so, yeah, again, we'll be reaching out to students again early next week. We've reached out to them a few times, but students, they get a lot of emails. So we're hoping they'll fulfill the requirements, and I'll reach out to you as well to brainstorm how we might be able to find more reviewers for your section.
Great, thank you.
Of course. And if anyone else has any questions about OSPA, feel free to email me. I'll put the email in the chat.
And then David, I saw your hand was up, but it's down. I'm assuming that had to do with OSPA.
Yes, I will email it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the 2025 editor-in-chief searches, getting the word out.
Thank you, Josh. My name is Brian Sedora. I'm Senior Program Manager in the AGU Publications Department, and I handle publications and open science. And I'm joined by my colleague, Sandy Long. She's Program Manager in the Publications Department for Editor Relations. And we're here to talk to you about the 2025 editor-in-chief searches. So next slide, please. So just really briefly, I just wanted to give you an overview of what we do when we have an editor-in-chief search. I know many of you already know some of this, but I'll just touch on it. So for AGU's 24 journals, for our Earth and Space Science Open Archive, and for our books program, we have editors-in-chief that serve 4-year terms with the possibility to extend for up to 2 years. So the AGU Publications Committee overall oversees the overall search process. Members in the committee serve as vice chair on each search committee, and then the full committee in September or October chooses the editors-in-chief. Search committees themselves are comprised of scientists with expertise in the fields for the journal that we're seeking. And we look to have a broad perspective from all career levels. We usually ask the president or the president-elect of the section to serve as the chair of the search committee. This definitely helps making sure that we're getting the right candidates that fit with the rigor and stature of the role. And as I already mentioned, a member of the AGU Publications Committee serves as vice chair, and they help report back to the full committee throughout the year as the searches progress. The council leadership team endorses the process in the start and at the end. In the beginning, they endorse that the search committee formation meets certain criteria. And in the end, they endorse the final selection of the candidates from the publications committee. And as I said, each chair we usually try to make it a member of council. So president or president-elect of the relevant section. Next slide, please. So we are kicking off the search process a little bit earlier this year. One reason why we're doing that is we're hoping to be able to engage with many of you and also be able to engage with the many people who are going to be at AGU 24 to let people know that these searches are coming up. So these searches for the 5 journals that I'll have on the next slide are for terms that begin January 1st, 2026. But it really does take the full year of getting the word out, getting applicants, going through the interview process, and then finally the selection process. So these are just a couple of ideas that Sandy and I have brainstormed for things that we would like to do before and after AGU 24 and at AGU 24. So before and after, we're hoping to message sections through AGU Connect, targeted sections. We're hoping to get in, possibly a blurb or an ad in a section newsletter. And these are ideas that we've spoken with Josh and Rosa about, and I think they're excited to help us get these in action. And then another one, and this is where you all can help, is promoting these searches within your networks. I know many of you, besides newsletters, there's listservs or just people you may know in your networks who might be ideal candidates for the editor-in-chief role. At AGU 24, we are definitely hoping to be able to put some of these in action. So we'll have rotating slide decks with the search information at various locations, at the Open Science Pavilion, at the AGU Publications booth. We do have a flyer that we designed and printed that has the search information and the search criteria, along with a way that people can apply, including a QR code that will take them directly to the AGU Publications page where they can apply for the relevant journal. And another way that we are hoping is to get these promoted at section events. So I put a question mark next to this one because we have not reached out to any section leadership yet. But I know that there are several opportunities. I know you all have executive committee meetings as well as receptions. But we're hoping that there might be a way that we can ask you to help us get the word out through these more targeted events that will focus on the areas for those journals. And of course, these are our ideas, but if you have any ideas or suggestions, please let us know. You could drop them in chat. I'll drop our emails in chat so that you can email us if you have any ideas or suggestions. And yeah, to help us promote the searches. And next slide, please. So these are the 5 journals that are up for the editor-in-chief for 2026 that we'll be actively working on in 2025. So and here what we did here was so we've done a few exercises both with the editors-in-chief, the current editors-in-chief of our journals, as well as at a council meeting last June, I believe it was, where we tried to get a more definitive mapping of which journals relate to which sections. I don't think it's complete, but we at least have something here that it gives us a starting point. So what we have identified is for JGR Space Physics and Space Weather, those 2 journals are up, and the Atmospheric and Space Electricity section and the Space Physics and Aeronomy section. For the journal Paleo, we identified the section Paleo. For tectonics, tectonophysics, seismology, and study of Earth's deep interior. And then for perspectives of Earth and space scientists, because that is a more broad journal, that's hard to pinpoint 1 or 2 sections. And we had a couple of those searches last year for Geophysical Research Letters and AGO Advances. So this is relevant to all sections, but we're focusing on the education and science and society sections. But of course, you know, this is where we would love to hear from all of you. If you think your section or the section you represent would be useful to help get the word out for that search, let us know. And also let us know if you don't see your section here and you think it should be here under one of these searches. Okay, next slide. I think that was my last slide. Let me drop these emails in chat. Sandy, was there anything that I missed that you wanted to cover in this? And then I'll also open it up for any questions.
I think you did a great job. Thank you so much, Brian. I would just add that I think the 2 biggest challenges, the first biggest challenge we face in these searches is just finding like a broad and diverse pool of applicants for the editor-in-chief search. Like we're always looking for more women, more people of color, more people with diverse backgrounds. So that's why we're trying harder to get the word out earlier and get it out to a bigger group of people. And not just, I mean, we find really high quality applicants in the traditional way that we've been searching. We always get a great editor-in-chief, but I think we're trying to just expand the pool more and more every year. And the second thing I would just highlight is that we're always looking for great, enthusiastic people to serve on the search committees for these searches too. So if you know people who are interested, or if you are a person who's interested in serving on a search committee for one of these searches, the searches usually run from the spring to sometime in the summer. So like maybe May to September. That's the time frame that we're doing them. Might start a little earlier this year, but that's the general time frame. It's maybe 6 months. So yeah, thank you so much. And I think we're going to open to questions now.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Anybody have any questions? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And for those sections that we had listed on the previous slide for that leadership, you will likely receive an email from Sandy and I sometime soon, because we are hoping to make some connections before AGU 24 in less than 3 weeks. So so yeah, we'll be reaching out for that connection. And thank you, everyone.
Okay, and now we're on to the section spotlights. First up is Maddie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your attention and thank you for the opportunity to spotlight. My name is Maddie Meddy. I'm the early career representative on the Ocean Sciences Section Executive Committee, and I'm just going to talk about kind of how we work and what we're doing this year, what we usually do every year. So next slide, please. Myself as the early career and Charlie Coleman as the student members currently serving, about to finish up our terms, do most of the planning for early career events. And most of our effort goes towards the Ocean Sciences meeting, to be honest. This is a Ocean Sciences multi-society hosted meeting that happens every 2 years in February. And so we put on a lot of events for that meeting. That's kind of our focus. But at the AGU annual meeting, we usually, well, in the past, we've done some informal gatherings. That was kind of before my time. Our bigger event is the career panel that we host, just one career panel, either at lunchtime or in the afternoon. We've been a little bit involved in the webinar put on by some of the early career leaders among sections. We weren't involved this year, but we think that was a really valuable thing to do. And then also at the meeting, we encourage a couple of more social ways to be identified as Ocean Sciences members. So we have these blue stickers that we pass out at our events and at our poster sessions. And we advertise a sort of dress blue day to see if we can kind of find our fellow section members, which we think is kind of one of the bigger challenges. Next slide, please. Please don't read through all these events. This is just an overview of what happens at that Ocean Sciences meeting. And I don't know if I said this, but that's just kind of the challenge because it's in February, just 2 months after the annual meeting. And so we always wonder if, students can't really attend both meetings most of the time. So we feel like it's okay to repeat some of the things. And since the non-academic career panels or just any kind of career panels are always so popular at our Ocean Sciences meeting, that's the one we choose to do at AGU. And there's just some photos of how successful some of these events are at that other meeting, but please advance. And on the left is the advertisement for the career panel. Of course, it's in the conference program, and we send out reminders and invitations through AGU Connect. This year we have, we plan on having 4 or 5 speakers. They range from industry to academia to private industry. We've had a little bit of a challenge identifying like another private industry person. So if there's any very specific recommendations, I mean, we've sent a lot of emails and we've just struck out. People the ones we've emailed aren't attending, even if their company is. If you know of someone attending, please recommend. And then, there's just a picture of our little blue dots, one of our fun things. And that is about all I have to share. Janet Sprintall is also online if you have anything to add, but please spread the word for our events, and thanks for listening.
Okay, so next up we have Morgan.
Hi, thank you. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Start there. Thanks. So yeah, my name is Morgan Trion. I'm the early career co-chair for the education section student and early career working group. So I have a co-chair who is a student representative. Today I'll be talking about how the education section supports our student early career working group to be active and engaged members in AGU and our section. Just a note, I do have a QR code that is fresh off the press for us that will take you to the education section website on both of my slides. So you can learn more about our section as well as the events we have at fall meeting or annual meeting coming up. So just to give you kind of a brief background about how I got engaged in AGU, I was encouraged actually by my undergraduate geology department in 2018 when AGU moved to DC for the first time. It was closer to us in Virginia, so I went, had a great time, kind of didn't think about it for a little bit, and then in 2022 was invited to serve as the early career rep for the education section. So I kind of note that as never be afraid to just invite people, see if they're interested in joining, because without that, I would not be here today. And so in taking on this role, I've learned so much about what it means to be a part of conference planning and an international organization like AGU. And I've learned so much already. So not only that, but being involved in the education section as the early career rep, I've received a great amount of mentorship and community, which has fostered desire for me to continue to be a part of AGU for years to come. So in particular, as you see on this slide here, the education section has focused on some key areas to help grow our early career and education working group. So we not only focus on graduate students or those seeking a master or PhD level degree, but we also engage undergraduates and high school students, which I'll mention more in a second. So we're covering all levels of education. We also, as co-chairs, get paid, our registration gets paid for to attend AGU fall meeting or annual meeting, which is also a huge barrier removal to help us more able to be able to attend the meeting. We also are regularly engaged in the education section meetings. So pretty much every education section meeting, we have one student or early career co-chair available to talk and speak on behalf of the student and early career perspective, which is great. For example, recently we've been kind of rethinking our Bright Stars program, which is where our high school level of education kind of comes along there. So we're trying to think about how to structure that program to have a little bit more peer mentorship. So since Bright Stars mainly attracts high school students, we're looking to engage more undergraduate students in mentoring and reviewing those posters to help continue the mentorship idea, right? And then, for example, we have some miscellaneous opportunities that come up. Recently, we had some money that we wanted to allocate towards some quote unquote runner-up awards towards those who didn't receive the big travel award for the student education or student early career education travel grant. So the student early career working group gave input about what we felt like an appropriate amount of a runner-up award would be to help contribute to the conference, which then helped us decide how many awards we had to give. And then the working group actually met together and selected those who would get awarded for it. And then in general, our feedback and perspective is always just welcomed at meetings. Next slide, please. So not only are we active members throughout the year, but as you just heard from the Ocean Sciences section, we mainly plan events for fall meeting or annual meeting for student early career folks. And as an education section, we've kind of focused a lot on collaboration and partnerships, knowing that education's kind of a wide spanning topic, right? So for the past 2 years, this is going to be our second year hosting a technical session. And this is a collaboration not only between the Student and Early Career Working Group of Education, but our DEI Working Group of Education and AGQ. And this session focuses on how we're building a more equitable and inclusive geoscience community in the sciences. So come join us at 8:30 a.m. on the first day of the meeting. Come learn about all the amazing work people are doing to help create a more inclusive geoscience community. We'll actually have that education section logo you see. We have stickers this year, so you can come get a sticker and show your pride of being a geoscience science educator, you know. And then the poster session is that afternoon. Besides the technical session, we've also been partnering with Science and Society's Student Early Career Working Group to host a social. I believe this is the third year we're hosting that social, and the education section as well as the Science and Society sections both contribute some funds so we can actually offer this event for free, unticketed, and it's open to anyone who is interested, regardless of your field of interest. So last year we had a few questions around the table to help guide conversation, but found it really naturally flowed. And it's really intended to be a space for student and early career folks to network, foster community at AGU, and enjoy some free light bites, you know. And looking forward, I don't have this on the slide, but as you can tell, we love collaborating. So we would love to continue to build these partnerships, help other student early career working groups, you know, foster more connection amongst AGU. We really like to be more involved in the Student Early Career Council AGU has as well. And unfortunately, this is the end of my 2-year term in this position. So we are looking for a new education section early career leader. If you are interested in any of those or have any questions, I do have my contact information on this page, and it's on the education website as well. If you'd like to reach out to me. And with that, I'll take any questions. Also have Elijah Johnson on this call, who was just wrote off his term as the student rep. So we have a wealth of knowledge if anyone has any questions.
For the sake of time, I have time for one question and then we'll have to move on. None? Okay. Thank you, Morgan. Okay, next up we have Ryan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Webb. I am the Cryosphere section Flash Freeze group chair, as well as I run some of the social media stuff. I will be stepping out of that role this year. We've got a good working group that's going to take over. But if you go to the next slide, please. So the Flash Freeze is really an innovation award for students. So we earmark funds for students specifically to help them with a mini grant that will help advance their own ideas. So the idea is to have the students come to us with an instrument design, model adaptation, something that is in addition to their current graduate student work, usually graduate students. We've had some undergrads as well, but it's a aspect of their research that is not currently funded that they want to expand on. And it's open to all students affiliated with the Cryosphere section. Next slide, please. And so we just got done looking at a lot of the applications. So we have the students apply in October, a 1-page letter of interest and a 2-page CV. And it's actually not part of the competition. We really use it to just double check that it's an appropriate idea, that they're not just trying to say, hey, this is the research that I'm presenting at AGU. I'd also like to compete in this competition. It's not an extension of OSPA. So we would try and make that clear. That happens occasionally, but not too often. And then we also double check eligibility. We would also use these applications to sort of whittle down if we needed to keep it to like 20 to 25 students maximum, but we have not had more than, I think, 23 applicants in 1 year. But the main competition is a 2-minute presentation at AGU. So it's really just that elevator pitch style. This is my idea. This is what I want to do. And the rubric for the judges is to only look at the creativity, feasibility, persuasiveness, the potential impact, as well as if it's within the 2-minute time limit. So we kind of make sure that if they go over that 2-minute time limit, I give them usually like a 10-second buffer in case they screw up a word. I try and tell them to not get too nervous. If they trip up a word, it's okay, they have a little buffer. But we want to keep it within the 2-minute elevator pitch style. And the judges do not see their applications. So the working group folks see the applications, and then the judges don't, so that way everything is judged solely on the 2-minute pitch. And then currently our awards, so we have $5,000 for it. So we have the top prize of $2,000, and then 2 awards of $1,500 to help those students actually pursue those ideas. Next slide, please. And so what we've seen as a success and some shortcomings, right, is remote participation has been really great in helping some students, especially from lower income countries that just can't travel. Like we also try to have scholarships and things, but sometimes that travel barrier is still there. And so the remote participation is usually that I record a Zoom presentation prior to the event, like the day before or something, so they still have a similar amount of time to prepare. And it's just a live Zoom call. I hit record. If they mess up, it's just like participating live, so they kind of just have to keep going with it. And that has been really helpful in getting that wider participation. Most students find the experience really helpful, even if they don't win. So I actually participated in the first one back in 2015 and lost, and still, like, the whole process of just coming up with that coherent idea in a 2-minute pitch, and that elevator pitch was super helpful. And a number of students that I've talked to have also found the event really helpful for that. Getting broader participation beyond the students has been challenging. For a lot of years, it was at Thursday night at like 7 o'clock, and you know, by the time the end of the week is kind of coming around, it's tough to get people that are not students in the competition to show up. But we've been able to move it to like Wednesdays. This year it's going to be Wednesday on that lunch break, and that's usually a better time. But some years are just simply better at getting broader participation from the section. Next slide. And that I'm always happy to hear other thoughts, questions, cries of outrage of something I should be doing different. Always happy to hear feedback. I don't know if we have time right now, but please feel free to reach out or find me. I'll be there all week at AGU.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan. We're going to move on to the next spotlight, and that is Tyler.
Hi, everyone. I'm the Deep Interior student representative, and I'll be talking about the Trivia Night event. Let's go to the next slide. So this is a relatively new event. The first one, I believe, began in 2019. Went through some difficulties during the pandemic, but since then, it's been very successful. Grown to now we have 150 tickets for the event. We typically get pretty good turnout, 70 to 80%. Several sections within the Earth's interior neighborhood, but also even technically outside of it, like planetary science. And it's ever expanding. We've added geodesy and natural hazards section very recently in the last couple of years. And we're happy to keep expanding beyond that. One goal of the event is to connect people across these many sections, and one way that we do that is just by having trivia questions from these different sections, so that teams with representatives from each of these tend to do the best. The questions themselves, about half of them are science related, half of them are just kind of fun, tangentially geology related things, like geology showing up in movies. There's always going to be a question about the core, just because we have to. But food and drink are provided at the event. This is traditionally, we've had it on Monday evening of the conference, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. Slide. Pretty much the biggest challenge has been food. The event is in the evening, but it's not really considered a proper dinner event. Practically speaking, though, people treat it that way. If people show up at 6:30, they're typically coming straight from whatever evening sessions from the conference, and the event goes, I think, officially till 6:30, but often stretches longer than that. So the complaint we've had in previous years is just that there's not enough food to kind of tide them over or serve as dinner. I've worked pretty hard to improve this by we've been getting more funding from the sections and spending a lot of time thinking about the food choices. But what's made that difficult is just how drastically the food prices for the AGU food services varies across the locations. That doesn't, and since our funding doesn't necessarily scale with that, that is kind of the biggest fact that determines, I think, the quality of how much food everyone gets and how happy everyone is to stay for a long time and keep connecting and networking with people. A kind of secondary, slightly more complicated issue is just that because this is a relatively new event, we haven't really developed formal ways or processes to kind of spread the workload across this different sections. So typically one person will take the lead and do a lot of the work. I've been the lead on this for the last for this year and the past year, and before that it was the MRP student rep, and that of course just ends up being the most efficient way to do this. And I understand that it may be that way in the future, but if possible, this is something we want to think about on how to, so that all of this workload doesn't just fall on the next person, especially if it's just Deep Interior MRP. So that's something we want to think about. Oh, and I got some a comment here. Tectonic Physics President-elect. Okay, that's not yet. I think one of the I guess I should say one of the ways is that we've gotten more and more sections involved as this event becomes more and more popular, I think, and the sections become more involved in it. That could become an easier way for everyone to kind of just get used to the roles that each section has. So glad to hear that, and I'll definitely bring that up whenever I talk to the other student reps before and after the event. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. And then we do have some announcements that are added. Rosa, if you're there, do you want to pop in quick?
Sure, and I see Janet has her hand up. So Janet, you want to jump in and then we can keep going?
Can I ask Tyler a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, great. Tyler, do you charge an entry fee?
Oh, yes, we do. It's this year it's $5 for students, $15 for early career.
Okay, and then something all of us should think about is, like, instead of potentially using section funding, can we look for sponsors for these events? You know, yeah, can we reach out to industry or other sponsors to contribute to these events, because they're good, they're good events for them to sponsor. So just food for thought.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I'd love to consider that. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. I know we're at time here, but we've got a few other quick things if folks want to hang out. Sorry I was late. I think I know most of you. Rosa, Director of Engagement and Membership, and really appreciate everyone's work, particularly the Student Early Career Spotlights. I think that folks are learning more from each other in terms of what you're doing. I hope you can continue to connect at AGU 24. I just wanted to mention quickly, we will be in touch in terms of these recurring meetings going forward into 2025, meaning the section leader meeting. So you'll hear more from us in the beginning of the year on that. And for those of you who've done this with us, we will do the section leader orientation sometime in January, February, as we've done in the past, including things like fundraising that you just mentioned. So be on the lookout for those things. But I also understand that Josh Weinberg has something he wants to say. So let me throw it to him before we totally lose time.
I know. Thanks, Rosa. I know everybody's headed for the doors. I put it in the chat. Just wanted to quickly let everybody know we are going to be officially launching on Blue Sky. Be with all the cool kids, including Andy. So big thanks to Andy Dessler for, I think helping us see the light. We were sort of seeing the light anyway, but it just took a while to make sure that we could measure our engagements and get on the platform in the way that we want to. So just be looking for us. It's not official yet, but we'll be, our handle will be @agu.org, and we'll be making a big point of this throughout AGU 24 so people know the news. But I know a lot of you are already on Blue Sky, so look forward to seeing you there, and look forward to seeing you in DC, hopefully.
Yeah, and Josh, it looks like there's a question for you as well in the chat about are we moving off of Twitter X?
Not yet, but we are definitely, we don't spend any money on X for obvious reasons. It still is helpful to just sort of widely get the word out, especially with our non-US members, especially with our non-US student and early career members. But it is something that we're definitely not engaged with as much as we used to and don't really want to be. So stay tuned. But for now, it's important to at least have another means of getting the word out on our programs and initiatives. But I share I share your feelings for sure.
All right, thank you so much. I know we're over time, but we can hang out the staff for a little bit more if you want to chat or have questions for us. Anything, anyone? Amber, did you want to say hello?
Yes, hi, and I look forward to seeing a lot of you in person in just a couple of weeks. So looking forward to it, and we're here over the next week and a half to answer any questions and support you in any way leading into the event. So thanks for all you're doing.
All right, well then I guess we will hop off, but thank you so much. And continue to let us know as we plan into next year. We really want to get a lot of input and feedback in terms of what you want us to talk about and make space for you all to talk about. So continue to let me know about all of that. So we'll see you soon.